Absolutely buzzing. Buzzing. Thank God for Eddie Nketiah. Oh my days. How often? How long do we have to wait sometimes for an Arsenal goal? How long do we have to wait? Every time I sit there in these games and I'm just constantly going, don't worry, just talking myself into this. It's going to happen. Just be patient. Stop panicking. It's going to be fine. You've been in this position so many times. It's been 1-1 or 2-2 or 3-3 in so many games and 0-0. And eventually Arsenal score after passing it around the edge of the box for about 50 million years. Eventually we score. And we did. So thank God that we did, because if we hadn't have done, every bit of positivity would have just drained from our fan base. And maybe some of it already is doing that. But yeah, thank God. And you know what else? Do you know what I'm actually more, not more, because it's selfish, but do you know what I'm actually even more buzzing about? Is the fact that the first time I wear the new shirt, the fantastic new shirt, we don't muck it up. And I just don't want this superstition around me wearing a shirt that's cost me a ton of money. So yeah, I'm happy about that. But God, thank Christ, thank the Lord for Eddie Nketiah. Always said he was good. Always said he was good. Best striker in the league. Always have faith in him. He's going to make it. He's going to be the best player Arsenal have ever had in the entire history of the game. What can we say about the guy? He's utterly fantastic. I can't wait to do the player rating show with Raf a little bit later on this evening. If you're around in about probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock, we're going to do the rating show. So make sure you tune into that one with Raf. But he's going to get a 10, maybe an 11 if I'm being in a bit generous. But no, absolutely brilliant. I'm just relieved. I'm just relieved. In terms of the word brilliant isn't the word I would use to describe the performance. Far from the word brilliant is the word I would use. It's just brilliant that we can pull that off and that we desperately needed that. So let's go into every little detail. Right from the off, this was going to be a tough game as soon as we found out the blooming Kieran Tierney's now injured. Now, I don't know yet how serious this injury is. We've not seen the post-match press conference. We've not seen any of the fallout from this game in terms of how it's being perceived by Arteta. But if Kieran Tierney is out for a significant period of time, I am very, very, very worried. Very worried because one, Kolasinac just is not good enough. He's just not good enough. I'm actually a little bit irritated in Arteta. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm a bit, and you know what I'm like, trust the process, back the guy, back the manager. But I am a bit irritated because I don't know why Mainsley didn't play. And I'm not just saying that from a TGT perspective of loving #Mainsley, but I don't understand why he wasn't in the team. Because the lineup with Saka and Ceballos just for me stunk a bit of arrogance. And I don't like that. I like consistency. El Neni had a great game against Fulham. And why El Neni didn't play again, I don't know. But we lacked control in the midfield. We lost the ball a lot. The passing was off. Ceballos looked completely abject at times. Like, I get what he's trying to do. I get that he likes driving at the ball. I get he loves turning out players. And last season he did really well. But and I'm someone who loves Ceballos. I was going to get him on the back of this shirt. I love him that much. But I'm level-headed enough to be critical when it deserves it. And Ceballos didn't have a good game. And I don't really understand why El Neni wasn't picked to start this game. And that's on Arteta at the end of the day. But that left-hand side, with Kolasinac and Saka, those two just do not have a Scooby of how to play together. More so Kolasinac. And it was just... When I don't know if you tuned in last time when I talked with Raf on the player rating show, and if you haven't checked that out, please do. I know it's in the past now, but it's worth it just to listen to the bit with me and Raf, and we're probably going to talk about it about half an hour, 45 minutes time when we do the player ratings for tonight. But what we talked about was the synergy of that left-hand side and of Maitland-Niles and Xhaka and Tierney in complete unison, in complete cohesion. The synergy between those players and the movement and the positioning and where they need to be all the time was spot on. But tonight, Kolasinac just was not on the same level as anyone else. His passing just cannot stack up to what Tierney gives you. Tierney's ball over the top cannot be understated as one of the key attacking threats of this Arsenal side. His passing from that left centre-back position is so important to Aubameyang's play on that left-hand side. Aubameyang ended up doing so much on the left of being so far wide and so dragged to the width of the pitch because of the positioning of our left-hand side players. And the way that Saka cut inside all the time. And it's odd because Mainsley is right-footed, and yet against Fulham, you still felt that performance was still a very left-hand sided game, whereas Saka's performance was very inside. It was it was much more central than Mainsley, I felt, played. It'll be interesting to have a look at the two heat maps when I'm able to compare them when Wyscout releases the data from today's game. But the whole of that left-hand side was, for me, an issue of the game. It's not solely blaming Kolasinac for a bad performance. It's not, because it's ridiculous. And that's why you put blame on Arteta's selection. That's why I put blame on the left-hand side as a whole. And there was just some really odd things that went on in that game. Lacazette, after the goal, I thought struggled quite a bit. He finds himself in his positions in forward positions where he used to create space for himself, swivel, turn, and bang them in. And his touch just is slightly off. His touch is just a little bit, it's just not quite edgy enough to be at the top of his game. I don't know whether he'll recapture that. He just doesn't look to be the Lacazette that we know of the past. Willian, I thought, for some reason, some people on Twitter were tweeting me saying that Willian was having a bad game. And I thought Willian was doing all right. And the problem is that I think what you need to get past sometimes is when a player passes a ball and it doesn't go to the target, you can't always just look at the player that's passing the ball, because sometimes the pass that they're playing is the correct one and the player that they're passing to has not made the right run, has not moved into the correct space. It's not like playing Sunday League when you're playing down the part of your mates. If you play a bad pass, it's probably on you. But unfortunately, the top end of the game, these players play these passes in behind to correct spaces where a player should be. And I felt that the relationship between Willian and Bellerin just wasn't quite there. And Ceballos as well, I thought, kind of upset that scenario. And they just didn't quite click. And I'm not sure what the difference was between... I say I'm not sure. I genuinely think that Ceballos being in there instead of El Neni kind of upset the balance of the right-hand side from the Fulham game. It's amazing how just a couple of changes, 3 changes, being it El Neni out, Mainsley out, Tierney out, putting Kolasinac, Saka and Ceballos in, who arguably, Ceballos you would think could be a better player than El Neni. Saka you would think might be a better left-sided player than Mainsley. Kolasinac certainly not. But making those 3 changes completely upset the balance of this Arsenal side. And when we're looking ahead to this Liverpool game, whatever we hear about the injury regarding Kieran Tierney, is that we need to know as soon as possible that Kieran Tierney is going to be fit and ready for that game against Liverpool. Because if he's not, I am going to be wildly apprehensive about that game. And that's just how I'm feeling. Let's go into the chat box then. I feel like I've been a bit amiss of you guys this evening already. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there and on paper. So let's get your thoughts. Avon says, Tierney and Mainsley were the miss. Danny looks short fitness-wise. I think that's definitely something to consider. You watched the Manchester United game, and if you're following us over on @The Gooner Talk TV, which is right there, on Twitter, you would have seen a funny video that I put out. I was recording the video that I always do now before the games, where I just do a little reaction to the lineup and look ahead to the game. And it happened to be at the same time that Man United had just conceded a penalty against Crystal Palace, and they obviously missed that, and it was retaken. But it's quite a funny video. It's the closest you'll ever get, I feel. I'm saying that now. I've had loads of people DMing me and tweeting me saying, Tom, you've got to do watch-alongs if they're anything close to what your Twitter video was. And I just don't know. It's just something about it. I'm just not comfortable with that. But yeah, it was amusing. It was enjoyable to make that video. But yeah, go check us out on Twitter. But it was just Man United just seemed very off of the pace as well, similar to how we were today in many senses, but they've not played their competitive fixture yet. We had a super chat from Ayathuka, who says, I'm reluctant to blame the players in the match because clearly our formation tactics didn't work, and it was clear after 30 minutes. And you know what else really annoyed me today was, and this wasn't down to one person. It was quite a few people I saw on social media saying that had Partey been in the team, we wouldn't have conceded that goal. Well, I'm sorry, I've got news for you. Having Partey in the team or not made absolutely zero difference to whether we'd have conceded that goal. One, because it happened on the complete opposite side to what Partey would have been playing in. Two, because Partey is not designed to stop those types of attacks. And three, he's not here. So why are we even bothering going, oh, if Partey was here, we never would have conceded that goal? What a load of BS that is. Like, why are we saying that all of a sudden? Honestly, heads screwed on, please. I'm scrolling up the chat because I want to see some of the initial reaction to the us winning it. Como Lee Ray says, Ceballos dabbles on the ball for too long. Good assist, but I preferred the way El Neni worked last week. I agree with you. Matt Gray says, really highlights how important Kieran Tierney is to the team, especially Alba's game. Jared Carver says, should have been Mainsley's spot. Anyway, Tom says, hope the Tierney thing is nothing because the idea of playing Kolasinac week in, week out is very worrying. Yeah, it is. The idea of Kolasinac facing Liverpool genuinely makes me want to crawl into a little corner in a room and shake myself to sleep. It's that bad. That's how much it makes me not want to experience that next weekend. Joseph Maseko says, Willian was poor today. He didn't know what he was doing a lot of the time. Bit of a headless chicken. Again, I don't see this. I don't see the criticism of Willian today. He did everything that I thought he needed to do in the game. His passing was inaccurate because the players around him were just not making the runs that they were making against Fulham. For some reason, there was a disconnect in the synergy between Willian and his teammates. His passes were fine. They were passed into the right areas. They were put into the right places. And I'm sorry, but the players just were not on the same wavelength as Willian today. And I don't think you can turn around and say that Willian is in the wrong for playing a good game when the people around him were not supporting him correctly. But even when he was, I still thought he was good on the ball. I thought he drove at the game really well. I thought he got involved with things. Maybe me and Raf will disagree a little bit later on in the player ratings. So make sure you tune in for our player ratings in about half an hour or so's time. Rydog says, Arteta was just happy to win. Just said this was the best week of training and the worst they've played with the ball under him at game time. If that's what he said, it's a complete fair assessment. I can't really say anything else other than that. I wonder if there's any reaction on Twitter about Arteta yet. I wonder if he's come out saying anything so far. It was a very, very difficult display for Arteta to sort of witness. So let's have a look. Has he come out of saying anything yet? I can't see anything on my Twitter feed, so I'm assuming not. Oh, here we go. Osman, our good friend Osman, always there to provide us with some of the highlights. Arteta says, I'm really happy with the 3 points, but we have to analyse quickly. We have to improve in many things. They trained very well all week to the system required, but for the first 15 minutes, it was the worst he's seen since he's been here. So there you go. Arteta was not happy with what was going on in the game at all. I saw another comment. Just wanted to highlight it. Have I just missed it? Tulip says the fluidity wasn't there. Collar doesn't take much risks like KT. Hope KT comes back. And Congo, back in Congo on the win. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means at all. James Duya says, you to say, West Ham played well and were organised. It's a sign of a good team when you win when playing badly. We do need new players. I suppose that's a good point, James, that we haven't actually brought that up yet, is that West Ham were good. West Ham played well today. You can't disagree with that fact. They were played really, really well. I thought the West Ham that I saw against Newcastle were disorganised, unexciting, unimaginative, just lacking in so much creativity and just commitment. And today they were the complete opposites. They've clearly got a right rollicking from good old David Moyes. So there you go. Calvin Cloet says, winning won't look pretty all the time. Important thing is the 3 points, but massive drop in quality at the back with Tierney out of the team. Mike Hernandez says, I'm buzzing, Tom. I don't care how we won. TB says, William was all right. 2 wins from 2, says Rydog. Declan Rice, though, says Yannick Mack. Gilly says, win is a win. This kind of miserable game was going to happen Sunday. But the win is the most critical thing. Joseph, let me let you respond to my retort to your William comment. He says, William was passing to the incorrect passes. Bellerin was very wide. Why would he pass it inside, away from his teammates, right next to the opposition as an example? He was poor. Because that's how they're being coached, Joe. They're being coached to play these inside passes for the wing-backs to overlap them, to play it between the gap of the left-hand side centre-back and the left-back, or in this case, the left-hand side centre-back and the left wing-back. They are coached to be playing those specific passes for the wide players to run in behind them. For some reason, Bellerin just was not on the same wavelength as the Brazilian today. I will say that I think there's certainly something, and there's some credence into West Ham playing a 3 at the back, and it kind of cancelling out some of the joy that we had against Fulham. Fulham played with the back 4. There was a lot more space in behind. We know that Liverpool are going to play with a back 4. That hopefully will play into our benefit as well. They're a lot better than, of course, what Fulham are. But the 4 at the back against our system may favour us a lot more than what we saw from West Ham today. I definitely think that we may benefit from that in some sense as well. Avon says some positional criticism of Willian is warranted. He naturally drifts in and left Bellerin isolated. I will definitely hold my hands up and say that is something that is fair. It's a fair assessment to say that he drifted too far inside. What I will say is that I thought that Saka drifted exceptionally far inside at times. It switched to a back 4, very obviously. And that's why I struggled with the left-hand side quite a bit, because it wasn't the same fluidity as what we saw against Fulham, where Mainsley would be a lot more wide than what Saka was today. And it was just a bit odd how we changed that system. And maybe it's just the fact that it's different players. They're not as akin to the system as what we've been used to. And that's ultimately why they didn't really perform to the best of their abilities. But yeah, it's a great win. It's a great win. I can't knock it anymore because it's a fantastic win. To get 3 points is the most important thing. You can overanalyze things all the time, but today's win is massive. It means that obviously we're still joint top of the league, which is nice. Joint top of the league is great. I mean, you can't complain too much about being joint top of the league. So yeah. We need to go into this game against Liverpool with the absolute desire to be so much better than what we saw from those lads today. If you want some more breakdown from myself and from the guys, a little bit later on this evening, in about 20 minutes, half an hour's time, I'll be jumping back on with Raf to do the player ratings. So make sure you tune in for that on the Tactical Breakdown Show player ratings. But other than that, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Please, could you drop a like on the video? We recently hit 19,000 subscribers, so thank you ever so much, everyone that has tuned in today and for the shows, of course, throughout the week. I'm still eagerly awaiting a runner Alex Runnerson information pack to get then sent to you guys for a tactical breakdown on the Icelandic keeper who looks to be signing. So don't worry, there will be a tactical breakdown on the man that no one knows anything about very, very soon. But I'll join you in about 20 minutes, half an hour or so to go and do the player ratings with Raf. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you as always. Speak to you soon. Thank God for Nketiah, the king of all men.